Hey, hello again, guys. Miss Smith here. Most of you are probably going to be watching at least one of these money cycle videos on Wednesday, January 19th. I'm going to break it up into two different videos. I know that you still have to get through George Washington notes first, and I kind of want to break this down into a couple of different sets of understanding. So I do want you to make sure that you watch the money cycle videos in order, in the right order. And let's just make sure that you also use the notes page, the fill in the blank notes pages that you should have to do the notes. Okay. All right. So kind of brought this up just a little bit in the George Washington notes, just the concept that Alexander Hamilton is going to kind of come up with these ideas of the national bank and just ways for the country to get out of debt, which they were in from the American Revolution. But the first thing that you really need to understand is how our economic system is set up, because Hamilton had that understanding before he came up with the concept of the national bank. So first, to start out with, you need to know that we currently operate under the economic system of capitalism. All right. And so what is capitalism? You probably don't know necessarily. It is a social and economic system where businesses are mainly owned and controlled by private persons, not government. So it's private citizens who own businesses here in our country. All of our businesses are not owned by the government like in China or like in Russia, where the government basically owns all of the businesses and allows people to work there. In America, we have the opportunity and the freedom to actually own our own business and make our own decisions about what we're going to sell, how much we're going to charge for it, how many people we're going to hire, what we're going to pay them, things like that. In that capitalistic system, people, apply for jobs, they receive jobs, they receive payment for their work, and profit. Profit, of course, plays a very important role in the success of the business. If you want your business to succeed, you have to make more money than you are spending on the business. Remember, there are a lot of costs to owning your own business. You have to pay for the building. Maybe you own it. Maybe you pay rent every month. You have to pay your employees. You have to pay for any machinery that you need, any repairs to the machinery that you need. You have to pay utilities there, just like you have to pay utilities at your home. A lot of times businesses will pay for health care and other types of benefits for their employees. So there's all of those costs that go into running your own business. And if you can make enough to cover those costs, you're just what we call breaking even. You're not actually profiting any. You have to make more than those costs for the business to be successful and for you to make profit. Okay, so that's kind of general basic understanding of capitalism and the way that our economic system is set up. Okay, so to kind of get it down a little bit more into some details, people who own businesses are going to invest money. They're going to invest money so that the business will grow. As the business grows, they can add jobs. And that, of course, means that they can hire more people. And that's what we want. Okay? Because the more people have jobs, the more they will put their money in the bank. Okay? So more money in the bank means that that bank can help even more people have businesses because the bank will have money to loan them. Even more businesses in our economy means that even more people can have jobs, which means even more money goes into the bank. So you see how it's this constant, connected, never-ending cycle. Okay, the more businesses we have, the more jobs people have. The more money people have, the more money goes into the bank, and then we can help more businesses. And over and over and over. That's why it's called a money cycle. Okay, when all of this happens, we end up with successful businesses. we end up with employed people. You don't want your employment to be low. You want unemployment, right, to be low, because you want as many people in your country working as possible. And as more people become employed and businesses succeed, then people get more money. They earn higher wages. Businesses can improve the wages that they're giving to their employees, and we have wealthier people in our country overall. Okay, whether that's the upper class, even the middle class gets wealthier, even the lower class gets more opportunities to pop out of that lower level bracket. So it's all positive when the economy is working that way. And when our country has a strong economy, we not only look like a strong nation to others, but we economically are a stronger nation. And that makes us stronger in other ways. You don't want to militarily go after a strong nation because they have money to defend themselves, to put money into the military and to beef up security. So having a strong economy impacts other areas as well. So these businesses, right, to get a business started, a lot of times you will take out a loan because you may not have all of that money yourself just to start a business. But when they borrow that money, they have to pay that money back to the bank. But when you borrow money, you also have to pay back what is called interest. So let's say that you borrow $100. You're not just going to pay back $100. You may have to pay back 125 or 150, depending on what that interest rate is. Okay? Because the bank is allowing you to borrow their money. You're going to pay that money back, but you're also going to pay back a little extra. All right? And people, individuals like even me, who have our money in a bank, as that bank gets some of that interest money from the businesses, a little bit of that interest money also goes into our individual accounts too. And so that's why when you have your money in a bank, that's how your money grows. Okay? So again, another good reason to have a strong economy, because everybody's going to benefit. So that's general understanding of capitalism and money cycle. Let's talk about how specifically that ties in to our time period with George Washington, the first presidency, Alexander Hamilton. During the late 1700s, which is when we're talking about, most people in the country are farmers. That's how most people are making a living, all right? But farmers didn't actually make a lot of money. Most of the profit that they would get would go right back into farming, whether it's purchasing more land or purchasing seed or purchasing cattle to help with the process of harvesting, whatever it is, okay? When they did make some profit, there wasn't a bank system set up yet. And so they would actually hide their money in their house. They would find these nooks and crannies in these little pockets and little secret places, and they would hide their money. Of course, that makes it very easy to misplace. I mean, we forget where we put things all the time. So it was really easy to misplace your money. Not only could you lose it possibly, but that money couldn't grow into more money just hiding at home. Like we just talked about, when you have that money in the bank, it has the opportunity to grow. But when it's stuck at your house, under your mattress, or in some kind of hidey hole in the wall, it doesn't have that opportunity to grow into more money. Now, also in the late 1700s, especially in the New England, that northern area, businesses were starting. The opportunity to have your own shop where you're trading goods, or maybe you're a blacksmith, or you're a tailor, or whatever those opportunities are. A lot of those businesses were opening and starting now that the new country had formed and the governmental structure was in place. But it takes money to get a business growing. Like we've talked about, you have to be able to pay for the location. You have to be able to pay for what materials you need to produce whatever goods you're going to produce. You have to be able to pay your employees, pay your utilities, all these things. So it actually takes money to start a business. And that's why you want your business to be successful, because you already have invested in that business. So Alexander Hamilton was super smart as far as mathematics and economics, and he understood the money cycle. He understood the concept of capitalism, but he also understood that our country was in really big debt from the American Revolution. So he comes up with a two-part plan on how to reduce our national debt. The first part of his plan is going to be this idea of creating a national bank, a banking system that was linked all across the United States. He believed that that would provide people a safe place to keep their money and to grow their money. It would also be a safe place for businesses to get a loan from the bank. And he knew that if business grows, the economy grows, the bank is strengthened, people have jobs, the whole country gets stronger. Now, not everybody agrees with the idea for the national bank. The Democratic Republicans believed that that was unconstitutional. They had concerns that it would only benefit the wealthy, and really were concerned that this would kind of play into that whole kind of another kind of monarchy, another elite group ruling the country, but this time through the money aspect. Hamilton, though, is going to dig deep into that Constitution, and he's going to justify his idea of a national bank using what is called implied powers. So these are powers that are not specifically forbidden in the Constitution. So Hamilton and the Federalists basically say, you know, the Constitution doesn't say that the government can't have a national bank, so we're just going to imply that we can have a national bank. And so that's kind of his justification for it. Hamilton and the Federalists say also, if Congress has the power to coin money, to issue currency, and to regulate trade, then not only can they create a national bank, but they should create a national bank, because that bank is going to help the government carry out those responsibilities of regulating trade and issuing money, coining money. Okay, so he ends up kind of winning that battle by again proving that everybody gets to benefit from a national bank. The investor, the farmer, the businessman is going to have more money on his own. That money is going to be better protected. Businesses are going to grow. They're going to hire more people. More people are going to have jobs. The country is now going to have people who have money. And so our country is going to look really strong and is going to be economically strong. Okay? But again, other concerns that people had about this national bank, if the business doesn't make any money, then they're not going to be able to pay back the bank for that loan. And that means that money that people put into the bank, that means their money is now gone. And that's how banks can fail. Failing, of course, is bad. And in this instance, it can lead to an economic depression. So you always want to make sure the banks are going to be real picky about who they lend money to, because they want it to be successful. They don't want to take a risk or a chance on something that it doesn't sound like it's going to make money to them. Because if that business fails, the bank doesn't get the money, the people's money is gone, the bank fails, and the whole country ends up leaning into an economic depression, which is what we had in the Great Depression. So, how banks work today. This is that concept that we just went through. You're going to get a copy of this. You're going to glue it straight into your ISN after you glue in the two fill in the blank pages. Those notes pages are going to go on 113 and 114. This is going to go on 115. And in the next video, I'm going to talk you through this. I'm going to talk you through part 2 of Hamilton's plan. And I'll talk to you about the other chart that you're also going to glue in on page 116 to finish up your money cycle notes.